Hi everyone, I'm Pratik Udeshi. I head ad sales for Amazon India. I'm super excited to be here today to host another session of Amazon Ads Canvas. Today we are discussing trends that are really game changing on the beauty ecosystem in India. Today we are going to talk to one of the leading brands who is turning consumer insights into winning products as well as building the right connections with consumers. Today with us is Ragini Hariharan, Marketing Director, Beauty and Personal Care at Himalaya Wellness. Ragini brings with her 15 plus years of work experience across multiple categories, including beauty, grooming, fabric care, fem care, and many others. Welcome, Ragini, and glad to have us with you today.
Thank you for having me here.
So let's start with the overall context on the ecosystem of beauty and wellness. How have you seen the ecosystem evolve in India over the last couple of years, especially with you being at the center of it?
It's a very interesting category, honestly. Beauty and personal care, a large part of this used to be quite niche, to today being a very vibrant category, very fast forward, moving really quickly. And this is all driven by a consumer who's become a lot more informed, a lot more digitally savvy, and a lot more keen to understand what is going into her beauty regimen. Quite a few themes have evolved, if I may call it that way, over the last 2 to 3 years. The first is that these consumers don't want just efficacy. They are very driven by the values that they hold. This has brought into importance some of the values like herbal, clean, sustainable formulations, etc. The other thing which we've seen these consumers is they are very conscious about the products that they use. So they want to know what is the ingredients which is going in. They read the labels. They want to know what the product formulations are. At the same time, of course, consumer wants very strong efficacy, which is pushing all the brands like us to innovate. We've just launched serums as a portfolio. We've launched a few gummies into also beauty and personal care as well as healthcare. So a lot of these innovations have actually been demands that the consumers have been making to us. One of the interesting other things is there's a lot of pride in using Indian brands, right? Especially Indian brands who are trusted, who come with well-known efficacy. And again, that's a place where I believe Himalaya is getting the benefit of knowing these consumers for a long time, having the trust of these consumers. And the consumers are also wanting to use these products because they're realizing that there are products which are a lot more suited for the Indian skin, for the Indian climate, and so on. Right. So quite interesting and evolving themes. And we are also innovating in line with what the consumer is demanding today.
Perfect. This is also a great segue into our next topic or next theme into natural ingredients, right? Because Himalaya has been on the forefront, almost like the flag bearer for this space, right? On natural wellness. How have you seen that evolve or play out, right? Which is essentially natural and herbal consumer needs, and how have they evolved, and what specifics on those can you share with us?
So the good thing is naturals almost making like a comeback is the way I see it, right? So it used to be the go-to for the consumer when Himalaya entered into beauty and personal care about 25 years ago. So that was the time when consumers trusted a lot of the natural and Ayurvedic ingredients in the products. And over the last few years, with a lot of knowledge, consumers understanding that a lot of these natural products have potency to solve various different skin problems and skin needs. And that's where we are seeing a lot of growth into all our face washes as well as other products which are built with very basic natural ingredients, right? There's neem, there's aloe, there is rose, and there's turmeric that we've just launched. These ingredients have always been known in the Ayurvedic tests and in the old textbooks to give certain different benefits. What we do is, of course, formulate it in such a way that it can provide that benefit to the consumer for her skin type for the right reasons. What is additionally happening is, of course, in addition to natural, there are certain skin needs where consumers need faster efficacy. And that's the place where we're trying to work out a blend of natural as well as high sciences, where again, consumer is starting to trust these products a lot more, right? I'll give you an example of serum, where as a category, the penetration of serum is still very, very nascent. And there are a lot of consumers who were fence sitters, who wanted to try these products, but they're a little scared of trying all of these actives. And that's when we collaborated with you folks, and we found that a lot of consumers were new to the category, who were coming on Amazon and buying Himalaya serum because they started realizing that the trust of natural, along with the efficacy that the actives as well as the natural can provide together. So I do see natural wellness being driven into skincare a lot. The other reason is consumers just don't want skin level efficacy anymore. Right? They're talking about holistic wellness. Again, that's a place where natural Ayurvedic products play a significant role. So this is an evolving category and an evolving segment of the category. And we're glad to be well positioned to play in this segment.
Well, what are some micro trends that you can share with us or talk about? Right, you obviously spoke about like neem, you spoke about rose and a few others. Yeah. Any other micro trends that you are seeing play out or something that you are focusing on?
A lot of new segments where the role of natural has not been evident so far. Right, serum is one where we talked about. The other one is that we're launching very soon is sunscreen. We're entering into sunscreen where again a lot of consumers are hesitant to try sunscreen. As per our understanding, sunscreen penetration in India is only 16%. Again, consumers believe sunscreens are very chemical, and how do I use something that is not very harmful to my overall skin health? So that is a micro trend that is definitely popping up. How do we use my time-tested natural ingredients in a way in which it also provides the efficacy that the consumer is demanding from us today? The other micro trend that we are definitely seeing is all the conscious consumer part. Right? Consumers are becoming a lot aware, and with that, I think comes a huge responsibility onto the brands to be transparent. And transparency in skincare, transparency in what each of the products does, each of the ingredients do, being clear on what am I using, what is it going to deliver, is a micro trend which is not going to go. I think it's a new trend, and I think it's a great trend because consumers are being more conscious about the skincare that they're using, and it's the right place, and they're holding brands responsible for delivering on their promise. The third micro trend that we are seeing today is a lot of consumers looking at regimen as a solution to a lot of skin needs. Yeah. Right? That is again the reason why we launched turmeric as a range very recently. It's for solving dark spots as a problem, but we know that some consumers rely on face washes to solve that problem. Some rely on a combination of face wash plus a moisturizer, or some rely on serums to solve that problem, or packs and scrubs, which they probably use once in 2 weeks, and so on. So the needs of the consumer is evolving in terms of formats and also in terms of benefit spaces.
Got it.
Right, and therefore providing that regimen to the consumer is critical. She may or may not end up using all products of that regimen, but every consumer is clear on which part of the format she wants to use for what problem.
With such differentiated products, or using a combination of say natural and active ingredients, as well as you mentioned like serums and a bunch of other launches, how do you look at or evolve your media strategy, right? Both from a performance as well as a media perspective, and how do you build like a holistic perspective so that your consumer is aware of all the different things you are doing and is also sort of understanding different products that suit her different needs?
Yeah, it's a real challenge to begin with. But honestly, definitely media has become a lot more deterministic nowadays, right? Which is amazing. For big brands and big parts of the portfolio like neem face wash, we still do a lot of awareness building. Again, as a category, face washes is only 40% penetrated even in urban today. As the market leaders, it is our responsibility to keep growing this category. So awareness build plays a big role. But now we can drive that awareness into consideration into really pointing out that right consumer cohort on what to target her with,
Right.
both in terms of product as well as format and benefits segment.
True.
One of the best examples has been our serum range launch recently, right? So we've launched 3 different serums, but 2 where we've put a lot of media on, which is vitamin C and turmeric. With the help of Amazon, actually, we've figured out that we did a lot of DSPs, and now we understand that the consumer segments are quite distinct. There's hardly 20% overlap between the two consumer segments, right? And this is still serum, which is very niche. And in that, we've been able to find consumers who are looking for more dark spots as a problem, or consumers who are looking at overall brightness as a solution and still want to go for natural products at the end of the day. Both consumer cohorts want to go for natural products, but two of them have different problems. So being able to convert that into a full funnel and at the same time then leverage the media on platform to retarget the right consumer has become easier in terms of making the media work harder. It's become complex in terms of planning.
Sure.
But again, that's the place where our partnership and collaboration comes extremely handy, where we do a lot of test and learns together. We figure out which consumer segment is responding to what kind of product, at the same time also what kind of communication, right? Because that's the other great part about media being now so many media options being available to us. Right? The same consumer we've targeted with different kinds of creatives on DSP.
Right.
Right? Because when we realize it's just an awareness building, we have a different creative. When we know consideration, we have different sets of consideration creative depending on what that demographic or psychographic of that consumer is. So while seeming complex, it's actually helped us deliver better on overall ROI out of this lens.
Got it. And when you talk about upper funnel or awareness, right, especially on video,
Yeah.
Could you share some thoughts or input mechanisms that you use to differentiate between, say, long form content and short form content, or creatives that you say partnered with influencers on versus what you would say have on video platforms or OTTs?
So again, depends on the consumer needs and the brand and the benefit that we are talking about. On Neem Face Wash, for example, we have we do awareness on digital. We also do traditional awareness till today, again to drive penetration of the category. But then we have used a lot of long form communication still on various different platforms, YouTube, Amazon, Mini TV, etc. As well as a lot of web series where we reach out to these young consumers. The best part about Neem Face Wash is we realize that it is our job to drive this category because that's the age at which consumers enter the category. Right? Typically, a teenager enters the category with pimple as a problem. We've all been through that life stage. And when she thinks about pimple, she thinks about Neem Face Wash. Right? So we use a lot of these OTT platforms, a lot of the web series to reach out to these young consumers because that's what she's watching today. But again, the best part is to drive consideration and then the full funnel approach. We get her back into the platform and then we are able to retarget her on the platform. Once this consumer grows, we know that her needs now widen, right? And from beyond just pimple care, there's glow, there's brightening, there is dark spots, there's a lot of other solutions that she's looking at. And then that's the place where it becomes important for us to leverage a lot of these OTT platforms depending on her demographic and her psychographic to figure out what is her need. And based on that need, what is the product format as well as product benefit that we want to target her with. Coming to the other place where, of course, a lot of focus is today, which is influencers. We've realized that getting into premium formats like serums actually works really well with these beauty creators and influencers, right? Because the penetration is so low while the consumers heard about it, she's still not sure on what does it do, how to use it, what are the side effects of this that could be, etc. So she's looking for some authentic voices rather than just awareness building. So for these premium portfolio, we actually spend a lot more money driving it through influencers and beauty creators, more because that's the medium of education that the consumer is using today. And once she's educated enough, of course, we need to then expand that funnel, and then we need to drive it amongst a lot more people. Case in point is again our latest launch on sun care. Biggest fear of consumers is the chemicals in sun care. Right? And we are launching, probably the first one to launch, a 90% natural ingredient based sun cream. So again, to drive the credibility of it, the great thing is Himalaya has great trust with the consumer. But to let her know that even with 90% natural ingredient, I will give the same SPF, which is SPF 50, which is proven, lab tested, clinically proven, and so on. We are leveraging all influencers to make sure that we are able to drive that credibility before we go and start driving broader awareness.
Very interesting. And yeah, you are absolutely right. I think the whole natural ingredients still providing you the same degree of protection. I think that plays out a big role in consumers feeling a lot more comfort in saying that, hey, I'm okay to use this product and not worry about things that I don't want as a part of my skin routine. Interesting. You also spoke about getting these consumers as a part of the full funnel narrative back on Amazon. Specifically on e-commerce and on on Amazon, how does that play out as a part of your marketing mix, and what are your sort of strategic focus areas or priorities in that space?
I think full funnel is the right way to approach it. The way we are looking at it is we are very clear on the fact that we need to continue to drive new trialists irrespective of which category, which benefit we are talking about.
Sure.
Back to the point that even the most penetrated beauty category for us, which is face washes, is still 40% penetrated, right? While creams is highly penetrated, beyond fairness, if you look at the other benefits, again, cream penetration is also quite low today. So one big agenda for us has always been how do we drive new to category.
Got it.
The great thing is that's always been also the agenda for Amazon. So we've got some very interesting data on different kinds of products, different kinds of consumers are new to category. For example, neem face wash, we realize it's not the beauty enthusiast who are new to category, because of course, they already are aware of a face wash, most of them have used neem face wash itself and so on. But we found 2x higher consumers in the grocery basket.
Right.
Consumers who were purchasing grocery, and that has helped us bring new to category even for neem face wash. On the other hand, on serums, even when we launched, we realized 65% of the consumers were new to category. And then we could identify these consumers as those who are fence sitters, who are afraid to try something which is chemical based, etc. So a large part of our budget goes into finding the new to category consumers. Of course, there are a lot of products which are focus brands for us, where we drive full funnel approach, we drive the awareness through all the big video formats, etc. Then we bring this consumer onto onto the platforms. We see which consumer has a higher add to cart conversion, and then we try and retarget those consumers again through DSPs and so on. There are some niche launches where we are also looking at how do we start building these consumers directly on the platform, right? And we found a lot of success in some of these. While we've had some really good products like aloe vera face wash for a very long time, we've not communicated about it. We communicated about, I think, 8-9 years ago when we launched it. But now we're realizing that just driving it on platform, figuring out who are these consumers who are looking for more hydration, moisturization as a benefit, and then retargeting it to them, has helped us really drive that business to 2 to 3x on the platform itself. So a lot of products, broadly intent continues to be how do we bring more consumers into the category, and how do we continue to then tell them about more and more Himalaya products.
Got it. This is super interesting. Just the last question. What are your top 3 recommendations for beauty and wellness brands who are looking to scale sustainably in this environment and are looking to sort of solve for consumer needs?
The first and foremost is, there's become a little bit of a marketing jazz on everything nowadays. But it doesn't change that the product is king. At the end of the day, you've got to make sure that you are creating products with the right rigor, based on a consumer need, testing it on the right conditions, with the right skin type, under the right environmental condition, for the right period of time. So don't skip the journey of innovation, the right
Right.
innovation for the sake of pace, right? Because this is, like we talked earlier, it's a very fast evolving category. And you feel really tempted to say, what's the next trend? And let's jump on the next trend.
Right.
Easy to do in, I believe, fashion, but the wrong thing to do in the case of beauty and wellness. So the first is just really don't skip the R&D into
Right.
building products which are right for the consumers and are going to be long-term right for the consumers, because long-term brands survive by doing what is right to the consumers. The second is, don't look at media, like we just talked a while back, as performance marketing and brand building.
Yeah.
Right? It's passive. The reason it is passive is because that's not how the consumer is evaluating you. But the consumer journey has, if only, become a lot more complex nowadays. So continue to look at it as a full funnel. Try and say, how will my consumer spend her day consuming the tons of media that she's consuming?
Right.
Then go back and look at what does each part of media has to do as a part of my funnel, right? So always look at it as full funnel versus saying this performance marketing money and this is brand building money.
Yeah.
Many of us have heard in going extremes on either end, and I think we've burnt our fingers, right? It's not always easy to do when you have limited money, but again, understand what part of the growth phase are you in. Right. And based on the growth phase, I think you can make the right decisions. The third, the big buzzword today is AI, and it's disrupting everything, to be honest, right? And there is so much role of AI to play positively into creativity, in marketing, in also understanding your consumer better. So leverage it. It's never enough when it comes to AI, but leverage it in various ways. One of the ways we are leveraging it in Himalaya, for example, is we are trying to use AI to find out what is the consumer talking about, what is the consumer feeling today, what is the consumer wanting in the future, and using all of that data as one of the inputs into our NPD pipeline.
Got it.
Right. Of course, it's scratching the surface on creatives and so on imagining creatives. It's a great way, right? As an output, you may still want to create non-AI based, because now there's an ethical discussion on AI versus non-AI. But in your journey towards creation, AI can really help you build the right stuff.
Right.
So
awesome. I think this was super helpful, and I'm sure the audience will find it super insightful. Thanks for your time, Ragini. Lovely talking to you. Thank you.
Same here. Thank you so much, Prateek.